Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting to my second nighttime spooks video for you guys, and this was titled 4 True Being Followed Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off again, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road in the back, shall we? Okay, here we go.
This happened to me almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
I was driving home with my friend after doing some homework at a coffee shop. We took a road for about 10 miles before turning left on a more quiet road. When we did, we noticed a truck did the same. We didn't really make anything of this, but once we turned right at the next intersection, the truck did as well.
Yeah, I would be thinking the same way too, because I would have figured, okay, they're probably going on the same route as we are, trying to get somewhere else. But if they just keep on turning on the same road to try to keep up pace with you, then they're not going anywhere else. They're following you specifically. Oh boy, this ain't good. They need to hurry up and try to lose this truck so they won't get followed all the way home.
And that got our attention. Maybe I'm just a paranoid person, but whenever I drive at night, I always pay attention to the cars behind me and if they turn when I do. After following the road for a short distance, it came to a fairly busy road that we had to cross. When we did, the truck crossed it as well. The next turn was for my friend's street where his house was. It was my car, but my friend was driving it. Once we turned, we saw that the truck turned as well. Both of us got really excited and kind of creeped out as well, seeing that the truck was following us. We thought maybe it was his neighbor, so we started to pull over in front of his house. But the truck pulled over as well. That confirmed 100% to us that we were being followed. For a second, I wanted to go out and confront whoever was in the truck, but my friend talked me out of it. We didn't know why they would follow us. Nothing was wrong with the car, and we hadn't cut anyone off. It had been a pretty normal drive. My friend pulled out of his street, and so did the truck. He said he knew a route that would confuse the truck, and started driving in a large residential neighborhood that was nearby. We took lefts and rights, and after about 10 minutes, we were finally able to lose the truck. We drove around a couple more minutes, and then headed back to his house. When we got to his house, I dropped him off and started to drive home. When I did, I noticed a truck with the lights off peel out and start driving behind me. The truck was back. I started to drive home and was planning to take a really long and confusing way when I suddenly remembered what you're supposed to do when you get followed, which is drive to a police station.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm glad that they were able to lose that truck so he wouldn't figure out where his friend lived at, but after he dropped him off and started heading back to his house, he was going to follow him now. But yeah, if a vehicle is following you, you should go directly to a police station, because you go there, they're just going to hit the pedal to the metal and keep on going because they don't want to get caught for what they're doing. Man, if he finds one of those stations, he needs to go there ASAP.
Started driving to the police station, and when I arrived, the truck did not follow me in. So after a couple minutes, I left and drove home. I took a really long way home just to be safe, and looked over my shoulders every 2 seconds. I was able to make it home safely. I don't even know why we were being followed in the first place. I just hope I never see that truck again.
I wish I had the answer for you, because everybody wants to know why they're being followed, unless the person wanted to know where you live and they'll probably come back and rob the place, commit murder in the house, or probably might end up coming back with a buddy to steal your vehicle later. Who knows? You never know what these guys would do while following a person home. But I'm just glad that truck just decided to leave him alone. All right, let's get story number 2.
I was driving home from work one day last year. I worked in the city and lived about 20 miles away, so I'd often hit rush hour on my way home. On this particular day, it was pretty bad. I was merging onto the freeway, and when I did, I accidentally cut somebody off. I didn't mean to cut them off, but it was so busy I made a split-second decision and simply misjudged my space. I felt bad, but it happened, and within a minute I had forgotten all about it. I remained on a freeway for a good 20 minutes and noticed that the car behind me was following extremely close.
Yeah, I know you feel bad about cutting somebody off because of how bad the traffic was, but some people are not going to forgive you right then and there like you just simply forgot about it. They're going to follow you and probably get you to pull over just so you can have like a little chat, and they'll show you how mad they are. I don't know what's going to happen here, so let's just continue on and hopefully he don't get rear-ended by this person.
It didn't concern me. I realized he must be mad about me cutting him off and figured I deserved it. Nothing bothered me until I exited off the freeway at my exit, and the car did as well. It was a kind of old, beat up looking car. The driver appeared to be a man, but other than that, I couldn't make out much detail. He remained extremely close to my car. I guess there was a slim chance he wasn't following me, so I took the next turn, but he did as well. I didn't want this nut following me all the way home, so I pulled into a gas station to see what would happen. He followed me in. I guess I thought he wouldn't do anything if there were other people around, so I parked at a parking space. He drove his car right behind mine to block me in. Now I felt dumb. This was not one of my brightest ideas. The man got out of his car. He looked to be in his 30s and had blonde hair. He walked in a fast pace towards my car. I locked my doors. He came up to my window and knocked on it. He knocked so hard I thought the window might break. He started yelling and cursing at me. There were a few people at the gas station and they started to look over at what was going on. I thought about calling the police, but after some people from the gas station started to approach us, the man got back in his car and drove off. I was relieved to see him drive away, and I pulled out a couple minutes later and went home. I couldn't stop looking behind me on the drive back, but he didn't follow me anymore. Some drivers have terrible road rage, and I've learned to drive much safer since then.
Sometimes people can't handle being cut off. They want to go follow the person that passed them on major highways, and they were trying to merge over, I guess. I get it. But luckily, he pulled into a public place like a gas station, and then people started noticing what was going on. And that other guy saw that they were coming, so he just got in his car and left and forgot about it. Like he wasn't going to bother with him no more. But I'd be furious if somebody knocked on my window so hard like it was going to break, like he described. But thankfully, that person did not follow him home, and he learned not to cut nobody else off ever again because people would have serious road rage like this person did. But that is one scary situation to be in, that's for sure.
I was driving back from Kentucky to Illinois once. I would frequently make long drives for work, and I would drive at all hours of the night. On this day, I was somewhere in northern Kentucky, about 3 hours into my drive, which would be an all-nighter. It was about 1 a.m., and I had to take a detour due to construction on a major road. I was annoyed because this would delay me, but I kept driving. It took me on a little highway and then through a small town. The road was very quiet, and as I passed through the little town, I noticed a car on the side of the road. I figured it was a cop, so I slowed down a little bit. I wasn't speeding, but that's just a reaction I tend to have.
Yep, I would do the same too if I passed a car that looked like a undercover cop car because you never know, they could be checking their speed meter and see if you're speeding or not. But also, it does get frustrating when construction workers decide to work on a particular road that would take you back to your house or at an area where you want to go too quick. But hey, if they got a route for you to take to pass them, you don't have no other choice. You take that route they established, and hopefully you can find your way to where you need to get to without going down a long, winding road, of course.
As I got closer, I saw that it was not a cop car, but just a regular looking car. When I passed by the car, it pulled out and began to follow me. I didn't know why the car would follow me, but I just kept driving as best I could. After about 10 minutes of driving, the car began to speed up and get closer to me. I started to get annoyed. He pulled out behind me and was now tailing me. I pulled over to the side of the road to let it pass by, but instead, the car pulled over as well. I was kind of mad, so I thought I would ask the driver what his deal was. I'm 6'3" and weigh about 210 pounds, so I figured I could take him, whoever he was. I stopped my car and got out. I stood next to my car, facing the car behind me. The door started to open, and then it shut. The car then took off and started driving straight for me. I couldn't believe my eyes. I quickly jumped on the hood of my own car. I got out of the way with about 1 second to spare as his car whizzed by me. It also came about a foot from scraping my car. I immediately got back in my car, made a U-turn, and started driving the opposite direction. The car kept going the other way down the road. After a minute or so, I pulled over and took out my phone to call the police, but I had no signal. I ended up driving back to the freeway I had been on earlier, where I had service and was able to report the incident. I also found another route to take home. It took me an extra hour, but I was able to make it home safe. That was one of the scariest moments of my life.
I'll say, I'd be wondering what that person's deal was too. But it seemed like that guy wanted to pick you to follow instead of anybody else coming down that specific road. He figured it was probably an easy target to follow. But nope, he didn't suspect that guy getting out of his car and just waiting for him to get out and talk to him about why he's just following him. I bet you if they had an altercation, he would probably punch him in the nose and tell him, "Do not follow me again, or I'm calling the cops." But that would scare me to death too if that guy decides not to get in his car and just speed off, almost hitting me in the car just to get away from following me anymore. But he did the right thing and got back on the freeway just to get service. Hopefully they caught him. I don't know. But luckily he ain't getting followed home.
In the summer of 2018, I was taking a road trip with two of my friends to Cleveland. We were planning to arrive in Cleveland at about 11 p.m. Everything was going smoothly, and at around 10 p.m., we were about an hour away. My friend Sean said he really needed to use the bathroom, and my friend John, who was driving, really didn't want to stop. After arguing back and forth for several minutes, John finally pulled off the freeway and into a rest stop. The rest stop was quiet, but there were about 2 or 3 cars spread out over the parking lot. Sean got out and went to the bathroom. Me and John stayed in the car to wait. After about a minute, we saw Sean running from the bathrooms and toward us. He got in the back of the car and yelled at John to drive. Sean loves to mess with people, so we figured he was pulling a joke on us. John told him to shut up and laughed a little. "No, I'm serious," said Sean. He pointed outside the car. We then saw a man walking toward us. Without saying a word, John started the car and drove off. We saw the man sprinting and we pulled away. I didn't get a good look at the man as it was nighttime, but I saw him run to a car and get in as we left the parking lot. John started driving down the road, asking who it was. Sean just said to drive faster as he was following us. The man's car was an old Saturn that was red and kind of beat up looking. We could barely see it, but it started to get closer in our rearview mirror. John started to drive faster, and the car did as well. There wasn't too much traffic on the road, but John started to pass cars left and right, all while the red car remained about 10 car lengths behind us. John then began driving so fast that we went over 100 miles per hour. I remember looking at the dash and seeing 112. We didn't care if we got pulled over because we were being chased by someone. Finally, the car got farther away. John then slowed down really suddenly and took an exit. I thought the car was going to flip the way he pulled off the freeway. The tires skidded and he went under a bridge and then made a U-turn before going back on the freeway the opposite direction. I have to admit, I was pretty impressed with the move. The car lost us, and then we were able to get back on the freeway going the other direction and arrive at our hotel only about 30 minutes late. We finally asked Sean to tell us why the man was chasing him. He said when he got in the bathroom, he saw a man who was smoking and asked Sean if he had any drugs. Sean responded with, "No, I'm not an idiot." The man then got angry and cursed at Sean, and when Sean walked away, he saw the man start to walk after him, which is when he started running. I feel lucky to be alright after that crazy incident. The rest of our time in Cleveland was great, and that was one of the most memorable road trips I've been on so far.
Maybe that guy in the bathroom probably thought that he was a drug user too, and he asked him if he had any drugs on. But when he said, "I'm not an idiot," he kind of took that offensive and wanted to chase after him. Who knows? You take drugs, it'll mess your mind up, that's for sure. But thankfully, he did the right thing, got back into his friend's car, and they took off away from that guy. Reported to the police, that guy probably would have been long gone. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications for more nighttime spooks reaction content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Core channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.